Hello, my friend. If you're in your 50s, 60s, or even your 70s, I want you to pause for just a moment and really hear what I'm about to say. Because this isn't just another medical video. This is a conversation. A message from me, someone who spent over 30 years as a doctor, to you, a man walking through one of the most challenging and transformative chapters of life. Let me ask you to picture something. You're lying in bed. It's 2 a.m., and once again, you're awake with that familiar urge, the need to pee. You roll over trying to fall back asleep. But no, you drag yourself out of bed, legs, heavy bathroom, light flickering like a dream. Have you been there before? If your answer is yes, then know this. You're not alone. But more importantly, this may not be just aging. It might be your prostate quietly growing and sending you subtle signals. I had a patient once, Walter 68, he told me, "Doc, I thought this was normal for my age. Don't all older men get up to pee at night?" I looked at him, smiled, and said, "Not all, and especially not if we know how to stop it." Now, I want to share a truth with you, something that most people don't talk about, but I've seen it clearly through decades of work. The prostate doesn't just grow because you're getting older. It grows because of what you're doing and not doing every single day. And one of the most dangerous habits, living under chronic stress. I'm not talking about everyday worries. I mean long-term low-level stress that hum in the background you've stopped noticing. Worried about money, worried about your kids, worried about your health. Worried so much that when you leave the doctor's office, your sigh feels like it carries the weight of a lifetime. So how is stress connected to your prostate? Let me explain it simply. When you're under stress, your body produces a hormone called cortisol. In the short term, it helps you handle danger. But when cortisol stays high for too long, like in many older men who carry stress silently, it starts breaking things down from the inside. It causes inflammation. It throws off your testosterone balance. And it tightens the muscles in your pelvic area often without you even realizing it. The prostate sitting just below the bladder gets hit hard by all of that. Circulation drops. The surrounding muscles don't relax. Inflammation builds. And over time, the prostate begins to quietly enlarge. No big warning. No flashing lights, just slow, steady changes. Have you noticed on stressful days, do you pee more often? Do you feel pressure or burning? That's not a coincidence. That's your body saying, "I'm tired. I need you to pay attention to me." I remember a 74-year-old gentleman once told me during a checkup, "I never thought stress in my head would affect how I pee, but it does." And after he started practicing deep breathing for 10 minutes a day, walking, gently sleeping better, he came back 3 months later and said, "Doc, I slept through the night. First time in 5 years." Sometimes healing doesn't require pills. It just requires listening. And stress, when left unchecked, becomes a quiet flame burning away at the most delicate parts of your body. So if you're watching this right now and you've been living with stress, anxiety, restless sleep, pause, I mean it. Stop for a second. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how long have I been living in this state? Am I unknowingly creating the very stress that's making my symptoms worse? If your answer is yes, congratulations. You're already halfway to changing it. And the rest of the way, I'll be right here walking with you through the rest of this video to uncover the other daily habits that might be quietly affecting your prostate. But for now, just remember this: stress isn't only in your head. It's what's waking you up at 2 a.m. It's what's been weighing you down, making you believe discomfort is normal. But it doesn't have to be. Because if you learn to manage stress, your prostate will learn to heal. Now, in this next part, I want to talk to you about another habit, one that's surprisingly common, yet most people don't think twice about: sitting too long. Don't go anywhere just yet, because I truly believe even one small change in this area can bring you the comfort and strength you deserve no matter your age. And if what I'm saying here sounds familiar to you, leave a comment. I read every single one, and I'm here to listen. Because prostate health, it's not just about age, it's about awareness, about choices. And most of all, it's about loving your body enough to care for it. Let's be honest with each other. We love our chairs, don't we? That comfy recliner in the living room, where we read the paper in the morning, watch TV in the afternoon, and maybe even fall asleep there from time to time. I get it, I really do. But today I need to say this clearly. Sitting for long hours without moving is a silent enemy of your prostate. I had a patient once, Robert, 73 years old. He lived a clean, healthy lifestyle. Ate well, didn't smoke, barely drank caffeine. Yet he kept complaining about nighttime urination and a weak urine stream. We ran the tests, checked everything. Nothing serious showed up. Until I asked him, "How many hours a day do you sit, Robert?" He chuckled, a bit embarrassed. "Probably 8 hours, doc. I read a lot." And that's when it all clicked. See, when you sit for too long, especially without changing positions, the entire pelvic region where your prostate lives is under constant pressure. Blood flow slows down, the muscles around it weaken, and your prostate, like a sponge under a slow, steady weight, begins to swell, quietly, hour by hour, day by day. Have you found yourself doing that? Sitting for hours on end, only getting up when it's too uncomfortable to stay seated? I'm not here to judge you, I understand. Because many of us, after a lifetime of hard work, think retirement is about finally resting. But there's a difference between resting and being inactive. Your body was built to move, and when it doesn't, it speaks up. With inflammation, with swelling, with those middle-of-the-night bathroom visits. The solution is simple, but too often ignored. You don't need to hit the gym. You don't need to power walk 5 miles each morning. Just do this. Stand up every 30 minutes. Walk around the house for a minute or two. Stretch your legs, rotate your hips, take a few deep breaths. Don't let your blood settle where it should be flowing. Another patient, Lewis, 67, took this advice seriously. He set a timer on his phone to buzz every half hour. When it went off, he'd get up and take a lap around the yard. 3 weeks later, he came back and said, "Doc, I don't wake up at night as much anymore." That's it. That's simple. We often look for big answers, magic pills, quick fixes. But sometimes the answer is just one step, one moment of movement, one lap around the kitchen. So if you're watching this video while sitting, take it as a sign. When it ends, stand up. Walk a bit as a small gift to your prostate. One thing I've learned in my decades as a doctor is this. Your body doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to care. And every step you take is a thank you to the body that's carried you this far. In the next part, we'll talk about something else, something that feels harmless but can actually make prostate swelling worse. Too much caffeine. Coffee, tea, energy drinks, they keep your mind alert, sure, but your prostate, it's not quite as thrilled. Let me ask you something, friend to friend. What's the first thing you drank this morning when you woke up? If you're like most folks I know, the answer is probably a hot cup of coffee. Strong, aromatic, comforting. And I get it, I used to be the same. One sip and you feel alive again, awake, focused, like your body's booting up for the day. But here's the thing, your prostate doesn't feel the same way. Caffeine, whether from coffee, black tea, or energy drinks, is a strong diuretic. It makes your body produce more urine. It pushes your bladder into overdrive. And when the bladder's working overtime, guess who gets the pressure? Your prostate, sitting just below. I had a patient, Charles, 66, still working full-time, in great shape otherwise. But he walked into my clinic looking exhausted. I asked him, "How many hours of sleep do you get, Charles?" He said, "Maybe 4. I keep waking up to pee." Turns out he was drinking 4 to 5 cups of strong coffee a day to stay sharp. Here's what I want you to remember. Caffeine doesn't just make you urinate more. It also tightens the muscles around the neck of the bladder, which means you don't empty fully. A small amount of urine gets stuck, leading to that constant urge, that feeling of not being done, even infections. And your poor prostate, it's being squeezed, stimulated, overworked like a sponge that never gets to relax. I know what you're thinking, but Doc, I love my coffee. I know. I've had mornings where coffee was the only reason I got out of bed. But the answer isn't to quit, it's to adjust. With Charles, I suggested something simple. Keep his first morning cup, but swap the rest for herbal tea or warm lemon water. 3 weeks later, he came back, eyes brighter, skin glowing. And he said something I'll never forget, "Doc, I slept 6 hours straight. I thought I'd never feel that again." Coffee isn't the enemy, but too much, especially after 50, is something your body can't handle like it used to. Your body after 60 is like a classical song. It needs subtlety, a slower rhythm, careful attention. It's no longer the rock and roll it used to be at 30. So the next time you reach for that second or third cup, ask yourself, is my prostate asking for a break? If the answer is yes, put the cup down. Pour yourself a glass of warm water. And know that small act is full of love for yourself. In the next section, I'll talk about something I see all the time in older men, but they rarely notice. Too much red meat, and how it quietly contributes to prostate inflammation. Let's keep going together. Coming up next, I want to talk to you about another silent habit, one that so many men fall into without even realizing it. Holding in your urine for too long. Sounds small, right? But trust me, the consequences can be big. Stick with me on this journey, because we're not just protecting your prostate here. We're protecting your comfort, your freedom, and your quality of life during what I believe should be the golden years of a man's life. Let me ask you something, just between you and yourself. No one else needs to know. When was the last time you held your pee? Maybe it was this morning when you were too busy. Maybe last night already in bed and just didn't feel like getting up. Or maybe it's something you do so often you don't even notice anymore. I get it. For many older men, going to the bathroom becomes a hassle. Takes time. Not so weird. Getting up at night is annoying. Or maybe it's just the thought I can hold it. I'll be fine. I had a patient once, Dean 71. He proudly told me I can hold it for an entire afternoon if it means I don't miss the game. But what was the price? An enlarged prostate, an overstretched bladder, painful urination, interrupted sleep, every single night. Here's what I want you to picture. Your prostate sits just under your bladder. Every time you hold in your pee too long, your bladder stretches like a balloon, and all that pressure, it presses right down onto your prostate, over and over, quietly but damaging. Not only that, when urine stays in the bladder too long, it creates the perfect environment for bacteria to grow, which can lead to infection, swelling, pain, even urinary tract infections. I want you to remember this. When you ignore the urge to pee, you're ignoring your body's quiet cry for help. Have you ever noticed, on days when you go to the bathroom on time, you feel lighter, you sleep better? That's because your bladder and your prostate work like a team. When one is overworked, the other suffers too. But the fix, it's not complicated. Go when your body tells you to. Avoid drinking a lot right before bed. Plan your day so you're not constantly forcing yourself to hold it in. I remember Dean made some changes. He set a regular bathroom timer, just like taking medicine. And he told me something that warmed my heart. I used to think I had to pee a lot just because I was getting old. Turns out all I needed to do was listen to my body, and everything got easier. You see, at this age, we don't need to fight our bodies anymore. We just need to listen and respond gently, like you would to an old friend whispering something important. And if you're watching this video right now and any part of this feels familiar, I want you to remember, discomfort is not a requirement of aging, it's a signal. And with just a few small changes, you can take back control starting today. In the next part, I want to talk about a habit that most people never think about, but it has a big impact on the prostate. Not drinking enough water, and why being afraid of nighttime urination can actually make you wake up even more. Stick with me. Because you deserve a full night's sleep, a strong and steady stream, and a golden age of life that doesn't feel like a burden. Let me share a paradox I've seen over and over again in my years as a doctor. The less water you drink to avoid nighttime urination, the more often you'll have to wake up. Sounds backwards, right? But let me explain. One of my patients, Bill's wife, age 69, once whispered to me during a checkup, "Doctor, I keep telling him to drink more water, but he's scared. He thinks if he drinks too much, he'll be up all night." I looked over at Bill. He gave a shy little smile. "I just don't want to wake up 3 or 4 times every night." So I told him what I want to tell you now. Your body doesn't just need water to stay cool. It needs water to stay clean. When you don't drink enough, your urine gets dark, thick, and full of waste and acids. That concentrated fluid irritates your bladder, makes it spasm, even when there's not much liquid in there, which means you feel like you need to pee over and over again. To put it simply, not enough water, concentrated urine, bladder irritation, more frequent urination. Then what do? You drink even less water and the cycle continues. And yes, your prostate feels it too. Since the prostate sits just beneath the bladder, it gets hit with every spasm, every surge of pressure, and every wave of irritation. Over time, dehydration leads to low-grade inflammation, swelling, and changes in how your body handles urination. Especially in older adults who are taking diuretics or blood pressure meds, dehydration can creep in quietly. Let me help you picture this. Your body is like a river. When the water flows smoothly, everything stays clean and calm. But if that river dries up, mud builds, rocks poke through, and the whole system starts to suffer. Same goes for your prostate. Lack of water is one of the quietest but strongest roots of inflammation and trouble with your urinary flow. So how do you stay hydrated without waking up at 2 a.m.? Here's what I tell my patients. Sip small amounts of water throughout the day. Stop drinking 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. Aim for pale yellow or nearly clear urine. That's your sign you're hydrated enough. Bill gave it a try. 1 glass when he woke up. 4 or 5 more spread across the day. Stop drinking water after 7 p.m. 3 weeks later, he came back and said something I'll never forget. "I'm not waking up at 1 a.m. anymore. I sleep through the night, and I feel lighter all day." You see, water, as simple as it sounds, is one of your best natural defenses for prostate health. No pill can do what proper hydration can. And no signal is louder than what your body tells you when it's thirsty. Burning sensation, frequent urges, daytime discomfort, sleepless nights. So let me ask you, have you had enough water today? What is your urine trying to tell you? Are you cutting back on water thinking it'll help your sleep, but it's doing the opposite? If so, now you know the truth. There was one time I visited an old friend. He had just gone through a minor urological procedure. As we sat for tea, he looked at me and said, "John, when I was younger, I thought cigarettes only messed with your lungs. I had no idea they affected my bathroom habits too." I didn't blame him. Because the truth is very few men, even older men, realize how much smoking can hurt the prostate. Have you ever thought that way? That smoke only makes you cough, hurts your lungs, or strains your heart, but never realized it might be the reason you're getting up at night, or having a weak stream, or discomfort during the day. Let me put it in plain English. Every cigarette and even secondhand smoke puts hundreds of toxic chemicals into your body. Many of them cause low-grade inflammation, damage blood vessels, and restrict blood flow to small organs like the prostate. And the prostate, it's small, it's fragile, it sits deep in your pelvis. Without good blood flow, it can't heal properly. And when it gets inflamed, the swelling lingers, the pressure builds, and your symptoms worsen. One of my patients, Gary, 65, once told me, "Doc, I quit smoking 10 years ago, but my prostate still acts up." So I asked him, "Does your wife, your kids, do any of them still smoke?" He paused, then said quietly, "My wife does, and we're home all day together." See that? Even secondhand smoke, just being around it, can affect your prostate. And when you're already aging, that gland becomes more sensitive than ever. I don't tell you this to make you feel guilty. I tell you because I've seen incredible changes in the men who decide to walk away from cigarettes. Gary talked to his wife gently. They agreed no more smoking indoors, open windows, fresh air. And instead of a cigarette after dinner, they went on a short walk together. 3 months later, he came back and said something I still hold close. "For the first time in years, I didn't wake up 3 times a night. And I can breathe easier, not just in my lungs, but in my soul." Smoking doesn't just take your breath away. It takes your prostate's ability to heal itself. It quietly makes you tired, messes with your bladder, and inflames the very part of you that wants peace in this chapter of life. So if you're still smoking, or living with someone who smokes, I'm not telling you to quit today, but I am asking you to reflect. Do you want a calm prostate or a pressured one? Do you want 6 hours of rest or 6 trips to the bathroom? There are lots of ways to quit. Patches, gum, natural approaches. But in the end, it's not about the method. It's about the decision. Up next, I want to talk about a habit that hardly anyone thinks about, but one that has a powerful impact on the prostate: not drinking enough water, and why your fear of nighttime urination might actually be the very thing causing it. Stick around with me. Because you deserve deep sleep, a steady stream, and a version of your golden years that doesn't involve constant discomfort. Here's a strange truth I've seen time and time again throughout my career. The less water you drink to avoid waking up at night, the more you end up waking up. Sounds backwards, doesn't it? But let me explain why it happens. One of my patients, Bill's wife, age 69, once leaned in and whispered to me during a checkup, "Doctor, I keep encouraging him to drink more water, but he's afraid. He thinks if he drinks too much, he'll be up all night again." I looked at Bill. He gave a sheepish smile and said, "I'm just scared. I'll be running to the bathroom 3 or 4 times again." So I shared something with him, and now I want to share it with you too. Your body doesn't just need water to cool down. It needs water to clean itself. When you don't drink enough water, your urine becomes darker, thicker, and full of acids and waste. That concentrated liquid irritates the bladder, causes it to spasm, and makes you feel the urge to go, even when there's not much liquid to pass. Here's the cycle. Not enough water, dark concentrated urine, bladder irritation, more frequent urges to pee. So what do you do next? You cut back on water even more, and the cycle keeps going. And the prostate, it feels every bit of it. Because the prostate sits right under the bladder, it's directly affected by all that pressure, all that irritation, all those spasms. Over time, chronic dehydration leads to low-level inflammation, swelling, and disruptions in how you urinate. And for older adults, especially those on diuretics or blood pressure meds, dehydration creeps up quietly. Now, I want you to picture this. Think of your body like a river. When water flows gently and consistently, everything stays smooth. But when the river dries up, mud piles up, sharp rocks stick out, and the riverbed starts breaking down. That's your prostate. Lack of water slowly turns into inflammation, swelling, and urinary issues. So how do you stay hydrated without waking up at 2 a.m.? Here's what I tell my patients. Sip water in small amounts throughout the day. Stop drinking water about 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. Aim for pale yellow or nearly clear urine. That's your sign you're hydrated. Bill tried this. 1 glass of water when he woke up. 4 to 5 more glasses spread evenly through the day. Stop drinking after 7 p.m. 3 weeks later, he came back and said something I'll never forget. I'm not waking up at 1 a.m. anymore. I sleep straight through, and I feel lighter the whole day. Sea water. Something so simple can be one of the most powerful tools for prostate health. There's no miracle pill better than the habit of proper hydration, and your body sends clear messages when it's lacking water. Burning sensation, frequent urges, daytime discomfort, sleepless nights. So let me ask you, have you had enough water today? What's your urine telling you? Have you been cutting back on water thinking it'll help your sleep when it might be making things worse? If yes, now you know better. Now let me take you to another moment I won't forget. I visited an old friend. He had just gone through a minor prostate procedure. As we sat for tea, he looked at me and said, "John, when I was younger, I thought smoking only hurt the lungs. I never knew it had anything to do with bathroom troubles. That smoking only causes coughing, weak lungs, maybe heart issues, but never consider that it could be what's making you get up at night or causing weak flow or that annoying pressure you feel all day." I didn't blame him, because honestly, very few men, even in their 60s or 70s, realize just how much smoking affects the prostate. Have you ever thought that way? Let me break it down simply. When you smoke or even breathe in secondhand smoke, you expose your body to hundreds of toxic chemicals. Many of those chemicals trigger silent inflammation, damage delicate tissue, and restrict blood flow to small organs, like your prostate. And the prostate, it's tiny, fragile, tucked deep inside the pelvis. It needs proper blood flow to heal and function. When it doesn't get that, any inflammation just sticks around. The swelling gets worse. The symptoms become harder to ignore. One of my patients, Gary, 65, once told me, "Doc, I quit smoking 10 years ago, but my prostate still feels off." So I asked him, "Does your wife smoke your kids?" He paused for a second and said, "My wife does, and we're home together all day." There it is. Secondhand smoke, even when it's not you holding the cigarette, still affects your prostate. And for an aging gland already more sensitive with time, that's a problem. Now, I'm not telling you this to make you feel bad. I'm telling you because I've seen the powerful change in men who finally say goodbye to cigarettes. Gary had a gentle talk with his wife. They agreed no smoking inside the house, open windows, fresh air. And instead of smoking after dinner, they started going on evening walks together. 3 months later, he came back and told me something I still remember. "For the first time in years, I didn't wake up 3 times a night, and I feel like I can finally breathe not just in my lungs, but in my soul." Smoking doesn't just take your breath away. It takes away your prostate's ability to heal. It wears you down quietly, messes with your bladder, inflames your gland, and steals your peace of mind. So if you're still smoking or living with someone who does, I'm not saying you have to quit today. I'm just asking you to think. Do you want a calm, quiet prostate or one under pressure? Do you want 6 hours of restful sleep or 6 nighttime bathroom runs? There are lots of ways to quit patches, gum, natural tools. But the most important thing, it's not the method, it's the decision. I'm not talking about the harsh midday sun. I mean the soft sunlight in the early morning, that gentle glow that naturally wakes up your body. And I bring this up because most of my patients over 60 are vitamin D deficient, and they don't even realize it. Now, vitamin D isn't just for bones. It helps balance your immune system, reduces unnecessary inflammation, and protects your prostate tissue from long-term swelling and discomfort. But here's the thing. As we get older, we tend to stay indoors more, especially after retirement. We watch TV, read books, spend time inside, and sunlight slowly becomes a stranger. One of my patients, Richard, 66, once told me, "I walk every day, doc." So I asked him, "What time do you usually walk?" He answered, "Right around sunset. I try to avoid the sun." And that right there was the issue. His body wasn't getting the right kind of light to make vitamin D. After switching his walk to the early morning around 7 or 8 a.m., just 15 minutes a day, and adding a safe vitamin D supplement under his doctor's guidance, his nighttime urination and pelvic discomfort improved dramatically. Just 10 to 20 minutes of soft morning sunlight a day. It can make a big difference. Your prostate might not say thank you out loud, but it'll reward you with deeper sleep, smoother urination, and a body that feels just a little more alive each morning. Now let's talk about medications and why it's so important to understand what you're putting into your body every day. Chances are you're taking 2 or 3 pills daily, maybe for blood pressure, diabetes, joint pain, allergies. And sometimes taking meds becomes such a routine that we forget. Every pill, even the small ones, affects the whole body. Take my patient Eugene, 74. He was taking antihistamines every day for his allergies. After a few months, he started having urinary trouble. Weak flow, stop and go stream, always feeling like he hadn't finished peeing. We checked everything, and it wasn't just age. It was a side effect of the medication tightening the bladder neck and interfering with prostate function. Same goes for diuretics or pain meds like ibuprofen. If used incorrectly or too often, they can cause dehydration and low-level inflammation in the urinary tract. I'm not saying you need to stop your meds, but you do need to understand what they're doing inside your body. And more importantly, if you notice any changes in your urination, talk to your doctor. Don't hesitate, don't wait. Because sometimes just switching the med, adjusting the dose, or changing the time you take it can help your prostate finally calm down. Your body doesn't need you to be a doctor. It just needs you to listen. If you're still here, still listening, I believe one thing. You've chosen to live with awareness, not passivity. You've chosen to care for yourself, not just endure. A healthy body doesn't come from luck. It comes from tiny habits done consistently. So yes, we've reached the end of this journey. But if you're still sitting there, if you've stayed with me this whole way, I want you to know something. I respect you. Not because you watched a health video, but because you made a decision to care for yourself. Something many men our age often forget to do.